folks. We're off today. Niners go tomorrow with the Denver Broncos, a little joint practices, which can only mean one thing, a big old-fashioned brawl. Maybe we'll start one this morning.
Wednesday, August 6th, and every single hour, ladies and gentlemen, brings us closer to kickoff. Preseason gets going 5:30 on Saturday, West Coast time, 49ers and Broncos. Like Larry said, we got joint practices. Hopefully not too many fights. That's just a waste of time. We're going to have to make you guys run laps holding hands together if you're going to do that. That's what we did in high school anyways. I'm guessing they probably don't do that in the NFL, but maybe they do. Maybe they should. It is great to see everyone. Thank you for being here. Guys, we're getting closer and closer and closer. Good morning, Sammy. How are you?
I'm fired up. I consider this is week one, right? This is preseason week one. There's a week 0 in the NFL, which people don't remember, but Hall of Fame game is week 0. We are officially here week 1. I'm excited. Saturday night is a Niners. We got actually football Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, NFL football, every team in action. So it is here, and I couldn't be more excited that it's really happening. And frankly, Chargers and Lions wet the beak for us. So here we go.
Let's do it.
We're off and running. Sammy's going to see Shohei today, huh?
Yes. Yeah, not just and to see Shohei pitch, which, by the way, when you go to a game, right, we've all talked about this, and obviously we're going to get to football, but Barry Bonds was one of those you had to be in your seat, right? That was when if you go to a game, you're not missing a Barry Bonds at bat. What do you do when the guy pitches also? You just never leave.
You just got to leave.
You just cannot leave. That is what makes Shohei the ultimate attraction. I can't wait. I'm taking my 3-year-old Levi to go check it out. So
that's going to be awesome. That's going to be great. Awesome. You guys have a great day. Hey, and I don't know if you got lunch plans after the game, but there's an Ike's near you somewhere in LA. I would say get yourself to Ike's, and if there were a pig and a pickle around you, you should go eat that too. Don't you think, Larry?
Well, I was going to say, before we get rolling, let's just thank our sponsors like we always do. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle, the title sponsor of the Krueger Show, the great Damon and Mary, the owners of Pig and a Pickle. Yes. They're in Emeryville, they're in Corte Madera, and it's great barbecue. So check them out. They're open 7 days a week. Go get the brisket chili. It's absolutely phenomenal. Also, we're brought to you by Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue down in Pacific Grove, California. The great Anthony Catania's at 831-521-5264. And we're brought to you by Claw Daddy Arcades. One of our favorite sponsors as well is Claw Daddy Arcades, and they're a great follow on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades to find a location near you. Claw Daddy Arcades gave us a Patrick Willis autographed jersey, which we auctioned off last week to one of our favorite listeners. And I don't have that person's name in front of me, but congratulations. We will announce that name a little bit later on. But congratulations to the winner, and thank you to Call It Eddie Arcades. All right, so let's get it rolling here. We got a bunch of topics to hit. When Sammy's in the house, we go beyond. It's not just Niners, it's Niners and beyond. We go into a little bit more NFL. But today, I thought we could start with a Niner topic because Terry McLaurin has asked for a trade, and the 49er wide receiver position is clearly in flux with a lot of young players starting to show themselves.
I'm not going to be getting Keenan Allen, am I?
You're not going to be getting Keenan Allen. He's a Charger.
Finally over. By the way, it's finally over. Damon, nobody campaigned like you for Keenan Allen. I mean, really, Keenan Allen's got an agent, but he didn't even need one. And look how and the Chargers, who are clearly listening to what we do, they said, "Wait a second, we know this guy better than anybody. Don't let him go somewhere else." It's over.
So Keenan Allen went back to the Chargers. Amari Cooper's still out there, but in the story in Niner camp has been Amari the emergence.
He's retiring.
What's that?
Amari he's going to retire.
I don't know if that's true. I thought he said that wasn't him that was saying that. I don't know. I haven't looked into that report, but yeah, he might be retiring. Nonetheless, I mean, at this point, if you're not on a team, it's almost time for the season. You got to ask yourself, are you really in it? Are you really going to play? Either you're hurt, or you should be on a team right now, or you're probably going to retire, or you're done playing football. But either way, the Niner receiving core is going through a transition. Pearsall stepping up. Jordan Watkins is stepping up. Demarcus Robinson is a new face in town. Jacob Cowing, when he gets back on the field after his hamstring injury, I expect him to really step up. So it's a little bit of a transition from the older, slower, more physical receiver to the down the field receiver, more separation. Niners were 32nd in separation last year. I bring it all up because Terry McLaurin of the Commanders has demanded a trade. And we all know that Ayuk is, Jaden Daniels' favorite guy. And Ayuk, said that Jaden Daniels was the quarterback that could get him to the next level. While that's going on,
I just want to say one thing. Can we define
that.
next level? I mean, I just want to define next level. Let's continue. But I'd love to know what level there is beyond where the Niners have been, and why Jaden Daniels is that path. But okay.
But I mean, they're boys. They went to ASU together. I mean, heck, I get together with some of my college friends once a year, and I love those guys. So I get it, right? We all have a little affinity for our college boys and our buds and guys that we chased skirts with and drank with and vomited in bushes with and, everything else. So I get it.
Damon and I have that connection. We're all right. So
there's a lot of vomit.
We are connected by vomit.
I quote the philosopher, the great philosopher, Grant Cohn, who once said, no, I'm just joking, but Grant has an article out and he's talking about Purdy and his relationship with Ayuk. And this is just a quote from Grant. Brock Purdy and Brandon Ayuk seem like teammates, nothing more. A couple of years ago, they seemed closer. Ayuk even campaigned for Purdy to win the MVP in 2023, but in the Super Bowl, Purdy targeted Ayuk just 6 times, and their relationship hasn't seemed to be the same since. I kind of share those sentiments. He's not really saying anything other than it just seems like there's a little bit of distance there. While that is out there,
remember during the Brandon Ayuk contract situation, the hullabaloo, when it came time to give like a full tacit endorsement to sign Brandon and give him all the money he wants, we did not hear that from Brock. Brock really wasn't in position to do that. He hadn't gotten his contract yet. He was being a good soldier. He was towing the company line. Maybe that's where a little bit of the fissure, if there is one, began.
It's a good point. By the way, there's another piece of it, and Damon, you're on it. So and again, it's amazing how social media now dictates everybody's relationship, right? Forget that you could text each other. If you're not telling everybody else that you're texting your friend, it doesn't really count anymore. So what happened is not only could in the media Brock have said anything we got to do, this is my guy, let's make it happen. Burrow got Chase and Higgins paid. Of course, this is after the fact, but yes, it looks like that relationship is so incredible because he did that for his guys. And all Brock said was, I trust the front office, which you're right, company line. Then what happened, though, is Purdy got paid. And social media from a Niners standpoint was, there's my guy, taking care of my guy, teammates coming out of the woodwork with social media. Now we scroll through Ayuk's socials. Where's the congratulations? Where are the flowers for Purdy?
Right.
And there are none. So the mystery continues.
In addition, to add more to this, I didn't see any public anything when Brock signed for $265 million from his number one receiver. I mean, it's one thing or if Damon and me and Sam don't reach out to Brock and say, hey, Brock, 265, bro, way to go. But we're not his number one freaking receiver. And, who did Brock visit this offseason? Kittle in Nashville. Who did he move next to? Kittle. Who? I mean, I heard nothing from Ayuk when Brock signed that deal, nothing at all. And when Brock was asked about Ayuk's hold in, hold out, whatever you want to call it, last year or whatever, his thing was like, I have faith in John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan to get a receiver in here if it's not Ayuk. So he kind of undercut his guy to some degree. All right,
one other wrinkle, yep. Larry, and we'll squeeze this because Grant Cohn, I think this one might be, considering you said rolling with your boys and hanging out with your guys from college, Ayuk got married. And if you look at the Niners that attended, now I don't have the invitations,
Ricky,
but the Niners that attended, we don't have Ayuk and Purdy standing next to each other at that wedding. So it's now seemingly that Brock did not go to Ayuk's wedding. Now, whether he was supposed to give a speech or not, whether he was invited, we don't know. He wasn't there. So that again adds to this story.
I wasn't there either.
Which was brutal.
I'm sure there's a lot of people sitting there going, you clowns, you freaking clowns, you're stirring the pot and all this stuff. No, we're just talking about
this
factual stuff. Yeah, these and if you want to say we're stirring the pot, fine. We're stirring the pot. We're talking about this.
Well, it's a timeline also. It's a timeline.
Well,
It's a
and,
timeline.
And why are we talking about this?
Partner Ray Ratto used to say timelines matter. They do. The order and event and the way that things happen do matter. So this all brings us up to now we don't know the disintegration between the Commanders and McLaurin, but there is one. And I really thought it was going to be, this is a situation where you find a way to put that toothpaste back into the tube because this is a good enough player you do that for. What I also saw, just reading some Commanders just articles that were coming out saying that it is odd that they went out and signed so many people this offseason around the age of 30, but McLaurin is the 30 years old that they're going to now walk away from. They're not going to do business with when he's been so good for them. So something is up there, and he's officially on the block. And so the question is, did the 49ers go get him? And I guess now that Keenan Allen is out of the picture, the answer might be yes, they should 3 weeks ago.
Some people, think that, that you should pay your wide receivers. Some people feel like it's bad business to pay your wide receivers. Nonetheless, McLaurin will turn 30 in September. He's coming off his best campaign in 2024. He played with the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year quarterback and Jaden Daniels, and the two of them made beautiful music together. But if you look at he wants to be paid like a top receiver, and the wide receiver salaries around the league are skyrocketing. So now McLaurin's deal ranks 18th. He's the 18th highest paid wide receiver. He wants a new deal that pays him, among the top guys. He did report to camp on the 27th, but then was placed on the PUP list with an ankle injury. He skipped minicamp in June. He skipped the start of training camp. So this guy was a third-round pick of this franchise in 2019, and he's a fan favorite. There's no question about it.
Let's be clear about this. T. Higgins screwed up the entire market for everybody, all right? T. Higgins is a number 2 receiver who's now getting paid nearly as a number 1. So that shifts everything, and every receiver, certainly every number 2, said, wait a second, I want that money. And then number 1s who are too close to Higgins' number say, well, he's clearly not the number 1 because Chase is there. So that fucks the math up for everybody. But the most important point... Yeah, Damon, go, and then I got one more. Go for it.
I'm saying, why do bad teams get to set the market? Why do bad teams get to establish the way things are done? That bothers
Cincinnati's
me.
Never been the example. Never. Now, they've also never paid players like this, so that's also interesting, even though, again, Trey Hendrickson still drip. We're waiting. But McLaurin, I want to say this much. You know that hilarious picture online of the Cleveland Browns quarterbacks over the years, and it's just you have to add names to the back because the scroll is so ridiculous? Well, guess what? Terry McLaurin's career resume also reads like credits at the end of a movie when you look at the quarterbacks that have thrown him the ball. Terry McLaurin should be the one saying, I want to stay here. I found my guy. McLaurin they finally got it right. Even though we all love Brock Purdy, the last thing McLaurin should be saying is, I want another fucking guy throwing me the football. I finally got my guy. This should be done from McLaurin's side. This is his opportunity. He should know he's 30, and he should know he's on the path right now because he's got Jaden McDaniels. He's the one with the guy, and he knows the difference when you don't have it right and the difference of learning it somewhere else, a different system, a different quarterback, a different scheme. He's finally, everyone will admit that the team that got it right from being so wrong the season before was Washington this offseason, the past one, I should say. This makes no sense from Terry's standpoint.
It makes no sense to that he wants out or that he wants to be paid.
No. He should be connecting to, this should be Jaden and him, period.
Right.
He should want to get paid,
but to be a commander now.
Exactly. Yes. He should be a commander, period. And I want to remind everybody this also. We're not stirring the pot. We're not stirring the pot. Again, we are setting the timeline, but these things, more often than not, we have time to talk about this before it becomes a settled agreement, which it will be somehow, whether it's on this team or not. But in most of these cases, maybe 90%, guess what ends up happening? Micah Parsons is going to be a Cowboy, and Terry McLaurin is going to be with Washington, and Ayuk's going to be with the Niners. Very, very rarely do these things become the nuclear bomb that we are discussing here. Very rarely.
It is interesting, though, because the Athletic, there's a lot of people that feel that McLaurin's not bluffing and that there may be something coming down. There's a lot of there's a lot of speculation about McLaurin and where he's going to go. And I bring that up because today in the Athletic NFL staff combined on an article. And what I mean by that is they basically, and this is where I think I like what the Athletic does, they came up with a Terry McLaurin article with 5 trade proposals for the Commanders, and they had each beat writer for The Athletic kind of, make sense of it and describe it and kind of describe it and kind of make their pitch. So here's Matt Barrows, who's the Niner, who, if you think that we're a bunch of a gaggle of girls, which by the way, whatever. Now we're
be more respectful to gaggles, shall we?
Yeah.
And let's be, whatever. But if you want to rip me, rip me. If you want to rip Sammy, rip him. You want to rip Damon, rip him.
Don't rip me.
But the bottom line is Matt Barrows. This is what Matt Barrows, who I would say is probably the best Niner media guy there is. Okay. And here's what he wrote. He came up with this trade. Brandon Ayuk straight up for McLaurin. And this is what he said about it. It's not so far-fetched considering this scenario was discussed a year ago when Ayuk was the subject of a high-profile hold-in. Ayuk had the Commanders at the top of possible trade destinations because of his relationship with and admiration for Jaden Daniels. The 49ers probably would have acquiesced to his request if McLaurin was part of the trade package back then, but the Commanders didn't want to part with their receiver then. A year later, would they reconsider? Now it's McLaurin who's causing a stir and whose feelings are hurt. While Ayuk is coming off an October 20th ACL tear and isn't expected to be ready at the start of the season, he's also 2.5 years younger than McLaurin and has relationships throughout Commanders headquarters, Debo, Peters, Daniels, and others. He's friends with the quarterback. He's close to Debo Samuel, and he was drafted by Adam Peters, who was the 49ers' top college scout at the time. Lengthy contract battles leave bridges burning. Wouldn't both players be happier where there's no smoke? Matt Barrows. Now,
great paragraph there from Matt. I think he's assessed the situation correctly, and that's the trade I would want. If it were to be the money that you're committing to Ayuk for the damaged goods that he now is, and then the money that you'd have to commit to McLaurin, you look at it as the tax that you're paying to get the receiver that you're not going to have till Thanksgiving this year by making that trade. So you don't want to, if the Niners are upset with the amount of money that they've committed to Ayuk, they're going to be upset with the amount of money they're going to have to commit to the next guy. But the truth is that amount of money is going to have to be committed to the next guy no matter who he is, because like Sam said, the price of poker's gone up for WR2 in this league, and we all see it and know it.
Okay, there's a couple.
Jaden Daniels, go for it, Larry. Go for it.
No, wait, you just get out of the damaged goods. You get a guy who's coming off a career year. Fuck the age. You're trying to win the Super Bowl now. Now this is a now trade. It's for the future as well, but it's also now. I'm talking, do you want to win week 1 Seattle? Do you want to go to New Orleans and win that game too? Sounds a lot easier if you have Terry McLaurin than an injured Brandon Ayuk.
All great points.
Jaden Daniels has his guy. From a Washington standpoint, this doesn't make a lot of sense, because you don't know what you have in Ayuk and you know what you have in McLaurin. We're looking at this from the Niners' perspective, and I understand that, but the idea that this doesn't feel fair for a team in Washington that also sniffed what the Niners have sniffed the last 2 seasons, right? This is a team that's in the NFC Championship, that is coming off their greatest season in decades, that thinks we are right there. And by the way, they are too old at every position but quarterback. I mean, Washington is definitely not setting the trend when it comes to youth. It looks like it because their quarterback is young, but everywhere else, it's not at all. So this is a chance to get a little younger, but you said it, Damon. Damaged good. This is an injury that some guys never look the same from. McLaurin is coming off his greatest season. Ayuk is coming off a humongous question mark. And number 2, the Niners shipped Debo, ironically enough, the same team. He's in Washington. They're now not paying Debo. This should have been easier. So I'm going to go with the smoke fire on one thing. Because Debo's gone, because you're in the process of paying people this offseason. Kittle, Warner, and Purdy have all been paid. Ayuk makes sense to be paid because Debo is now out and it didn't happen. So maybe there is a little to it, and maybe it has something to do with that injury. Maybe it has something to do with the way he's coming along, because that is a scary injury that at that position, if you can't separate, if you can't be the same guy because of that injury, ACL, that's a scary one that ends careers.
Okay, so there's a lot of angles on this, right? Okay, one of them, and Sammy just hit on one that I want to hit on. But to me, there's 2 angles that I find really interesting. One I think this is kind of a big year for the 49ers. The 49ers won 6 games last year. Who's playing with the house's money? Washington is. Washington drafted the right quarterback, had an obvious, resurgence, and they've got their nightmare franchise away from Daniel Snyder, new ownership group, Bob Myers, a new regime, a new quarterback, and they're steamrolling towards a new stadium and upping the value of that franchise by quadruple. That's the road they're on, and they may get a Super Bowl along the way. So they're feeling really, really good. They're the kind of the hot team that's kind of heat checking. The Niners, on the other hand, are a regime that's been in place since 2017, got close on a couple Super Bowls, and Jed is now tightening the purse strings, investing in soccer teams, and the pressure's starting to get dialed up on Lynch and Shanahan as a regime. So I think the Niners are kind of, I don't think the Niners, I don't know how you guys feel, but even though it's a lot of new players, a lot of young players, I don't think the 49ers from Jed or the ownership's perspective are going to be all that pleased with another 5 or 6 win type season. I think the 49ers are absolutely hell-bent on winning this year. So even though they got a bunch of young players. So I think there's some urgency on the Niner front, and that's why I think McLaurin makes a lot of sense. Now, I agree with you, Sammy, that moving McLaurin, who's healthy, for Ayuk, who's not healthy, doesn't seem, I can see why they would do it because Ayuk and Daniels are tight, but I could also see why they wouldn't want to do it because McLaurin's ready to play right now and Ayuk isn't ready to play right now. So I would say I would just make a slight alteration to this deal. I look at the Niner wide receiver core and I say, who's here and who's the future and who's the past? Ayuk, the past. Jennings, the past. The future, Ricky Pearsall, Jacob Cowing, Jordan Watkins. I'm not sure after that. Maybe Junior Bergen. I'm not really sure about that. But those young receivers are more the future. How about this? The Niners have another receiver holding out, Juwan Jennings, who also was drafted by Adam Peters, who is ready to play right now. And Shanahan was like, does he have is he hurt? He's like, well, he told me he had a calf. Well, is it financial related or is it injury related, his absence? Well, you got to go talk to him, which in other words means that JJ's holding out. Okay. So now you got JJ holding out. Do you want to give him a big money deal? No. So how about this? You alter your deal and you say, hey, Commanders, we'll give you Ayuk and Jennings. We'll take McLaurin and CMC's younger brother, and we'll get down the road. We'll take younger McCaffrey, who has done a little things, but nothing major. We'll take McLaurin. We're not going to pay JJ anyway, and if we trade for McLaurin, we're really not paying him. We want to get out from Ayuk, so swap 2 receivers for 2 receivers, just like that. Washington's got at the reincarnation of Debo, JJ, and Ayuk with Peters and Daniels, and the Niners have turned the page on their hurt veteran receivers. They have 1 veteran and a bunch of young receivers going forward. I think, and McCaffrey's brother. I think that is a win-win, and I would even throw in some kind of a draft choice on the Niners end. Mid-round draft choice if somebody felt like that wasn't a fair trade. What do you guys think?
I love getting angry. I love getting angry and reacting to things. I love hearing something and then being really upset and poking holes in it. It's really easy. It's really what this entire industry is based on. You read something, right? We read something from Grant Cohn, we get angry, and then right? You're wrong, Larry. Everything you just said, as wild as it is, the McLaren and Ayuk thing seems a little wild. Rarely do trades go down where it's 1 for 1 anyway, right? So most likely you would have other pieces to this deal.
But we have seen
the layers.
Your Eagles just made a trade 2 days ago.
You're right, 1 for 1. But what just happened, the way you set it up with the layers to it, I like that for both teams. Rarely, I wanted to be angry on one side of it. What you just said actually feels measured. It's a blockbuster, but it's measured in many ways. So I'm just going to say I like it.
And you could debate who gets the better end of it.
Right.
And you could make an argument for either side, I think.
Yeah, Washington's going to feel like we're ready, right? Washington's going to feel like that puts us right there right now. But there is a foresight to this thing that looks really brilliant on the Niners end too. I love what you just said there.
They'd have to play some games before anybody knew who won that trade.
Yes.
There's a lot of that makes a lot of sense. What makes even more sense is doing none of this bullshit and signing Keenan Allen 3 weeks ago and not having to worry about any of this, not have to worry about trading assets for anyone or anything, or worrying about Terry McLaurin coming in here and learning new everything, or having to extend him now for mega money. Keenan Allen was a one-off, one-season rental, no big deal, and they should have done it. And I think it's, if we see this, how do they not see this?
I love to say that.
And I understand Niner fans. There's Niner fans in the chat, as we always have a lot of good people in the chat here. And let's see, one of the guys is like, this is the familiar refrain. I wanted to put this up here because it's such a familiar refrain. Oh, here we go. Here it is. From James Silvera. This is a guy who this chat almost speaks for all Niner fans. Jennings is clutch, and that makes 0 sense. Yeah, but guess what? Clutch is nice, but ultimately he's been paid like this level of a receiver, and now it's time to either fish or cut bait. So you're either going to pay him big bucks, and do you want to pay Juwan Jennings big bucks? Juwan Jennings runs 4.7. Juwan Jennings right now is the 42nd highest paid receiver in pro football. If you said to me, where does he rank among receivers in pro football? I would say about 35. So this idea, this notion that he's like it's this crime what he's making. I don't know. I can't go.
Well,
there.
and Jennings' money is also tied to two things. Debo, who many considered the best receiver the Niners had, was traded, and Ayuk, who everyone would consider 1B to Debo, is injured. That's Jennings' stock is based on opportunity and timing, not based on the production he's had in this league to this point. I do like the Purdy and Jennings connection, but you're right. And one name we have to just keep screaming and reminding, and every 5 minutes, someone should just write this in the chat. Kittle, because there's really only 5 tight ends in this entire league who measure up in the wide receiver conversation. And when you talk about pass catchers that you can mention their name and you better if you're slotting in best pass catchers, and Kittle happens to be at the top of that list. So you must make Kittle part of this conversation when you're looking at weapons the Niners have for Purdy. And again, you did just pay, realistically, your number 1 pass catcher. The Niners did that. They paid their number 1 quarterback, their number 1-2 defensive player, and their number 1 pass catcher. They did do that this offseason. So they have taken care of a lot. It's interesting to keep that in mind. The Jennings thing is interesting. And like I said, Higgins is why Jennings' head is where it is. Higgins at WR2 is the reason that he thinks he's worth this much money.
This might be unfair, but like I look at Juwan Jennings as, he's a to borrow from Jim Harbaugh, he's a trusted agent. I trust Juwan Jennings to make a play when it needs to happen. But at the same time, he's kind of like the Mike Yastrzemski of wide receivers. He's good. He's good enough to be here. Every now and then he absolutely delivers in a big way. But shame on this franchise for not being able to unearth someone a little bit better than that to play such an important role.
Well, it's not a franchise that's had a lot of tremendous wide receivers in its past. I mean, it's
historically the passing game in the 49ers. It's the Niners, it's the Bears.
I know a lot of this talk sounds wild, but I think we got to move beyond there aren't a lot of trades in the NFL, and realize that the NFL is changing, and there are more and more trades in the NFL every year. And
a little late in the game now to do it though. Now, like it really is. Like if this were to happen 60 days ago, would have been the time for it to really happen. And I just feel like they're a little bit too close to action happening. And I don't know. Like I just think that it's tough time to go back to the deck to reshuffle it now. You're about
the other thing is, look, Ayuk in regards to hold, Ayuk and his money is interesting because of the injury, right? McLaren is actually saying, I won't play in games if you don't pay me, right? Ayuk can't be saying that. Ayuk does not have the same leg, literally, excuse the pun, to stand on.
I don't like paying people and still having them pissed. You know what I mean? If I pay you and you're pissed, I'm pissed.
But money changes a lot. See, the difference is,
but there's no reason for
it's the
you
not
to be
being
pissed.
paid. It's the not being paid. And again, that's very much with quotations around it, right? Who would say that any of these guys in the league are not getting paid? I mean, that's obscene. Of course, the amount of money that they make, even when they're not at the top of the list. The 42nd top paid wide receiver in this league is making ridiculous money. We know that. But Larry, come on. When you're not getting paid, you're pissed. When you get paid, there's a lot of smiling, a lot of handshakes, a lot of social media posts, and everybody's in a good mood when you're getting the money that you think you deserve.
You know, it's no different than life. Sometimes you make decisions for a myriad of reasons. I can remember one time in college, I picked up my girlfriend. She wanted to go to the Madonna concert at the Oakland Coliseum.
Strong ticket.
We didn't have tickets. I said, hey, why don't we go? We don't have tickets. Why don't we go out to dinner and we'll see a movie. We'll go out to dinner. And she's like, all right. And so we're driving to dinner. Right. and I'm like sitting there going, I'm going to drop a fucking $100 on dinner. Then I'm going to drop another 50 at the movies. And she's pissed. And then I had this like brainchild. I'm like, that's it. I don't care. I go, let's just do this. Screw the dinner and the movie. Let's just drive down to the Coliseum and we'll see if we can get tickets. And she's like, oh my God. She's all happy. We drive down there. Miraculously, we got tickets. We were in the first row. They saved a bunch of tickets for like the last, they gave them to us right as the concert had already started. We were like walking in the first set. Now, granted, it's Madonna. It's not necessarily what it was the Truth or Dare show, though. It was kind of big.
That's a big, by the way, wait, look, on your deathbed, you're going to say that you saw Madonna live. That's a good one. That's a feather in the cap.
In the first row. We were literally, she was gyrating and touching herself literally as close as you guys are to me.
You got Houston Texans Verlander, not San Francisco Giants Verlander.
Right, exactly. So anyway, I just said, you know what? I may if I'm going to blow $150, I might as well just make a road trip of it. And I figured maybe we won't get tickets and then we'll just hit fast food on the way back and I'll save some money.
And you did the right thing. You save face regardless.
Exactly. Yeah. So guess what? And on the way home, I said to her, hey, look, you were going to be pissed if we went to a dinner and a movie. So I was just like, screw it. Let's just try it. And it worked out. And I kind of feel like that's where JJ and Ayuk are with the Niners. It's like they're here, but they're making good money, but they're pissed. And it's like, if they're going to be pissed, then get lost.
I like this Madonna theory. Let's forever tag this as the Madonna theory. I think it is. I like this. No, this is really the Madonna game plan.
Terry McLaurin is the Truth or Dare.
Well, first of all the players we're talking about, McLaurin is Madonna in this scenario because Ayuk is not healthy. If Ayuk's healthy, he's Madonna in this situation. And instead,
the real problem is the world that Larry's Madonna theory did exist in no longer exists. There is no price of dinner and a movie is somewhat equivalent to we're going to Madonna. I think like two people going to Madonna now is like at least $2,500 before you park your car.
Are you kidding me? And
no,
you have to go. You see her at the Shady Rest. Is that where she's appearing? All right, let's hit a couple other topics. We're 33 minutes in. We're only going today until 10:15, so we're only going to go for another 20 minutes or so.
Subscribe across all three channels if you would. Please right now. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Thumbs up, like, subscribe.
We're also on Instagram, boys. I threw this out as a little experiment. We are on IG Live as well. So I decided to just dip my toe in that.
So the other night, got a chance to watch the Hall of Fame game, the unofficial beginning to the NFL season, and we saw Trey Lance, and he played well in that game. And obviously, Trey Lance is the backup to Justin Herbert. But I think a lot of Niners fans are very mentally, emotionally invested in Trey. And it made me kind of bring up down in the media room with some of the Niner media people, hey, guys, if you had to wager every penny that you have to your name on a 2021 drafted quarterback winning a Super Bowl, who are you betting on? Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones. Those are the five. Which of those 5 guys would you put every penny you own to win a Super Bowl? Not this year, but eventually.
This had me up till 3 a.m. Damon, I want you to go, but I was just going to say this had me up till 3 a.m. This is such a tragic list of quarterbacks. It's really but I love the experiment.
My follow-up question: to qualify as Super Bowl champion, can I pick the guy that can become Super Bowl champion just holding a clipboard, or does he have to be playing?
Yeah, is Kenny Pickett a Super Bowl champion? Is what you're asking. Is Kenny Pickett a Super Bowl champion?
No. It's not clipboard. Because if you get traded in November 1st to the Chiefs and you're the third string, no.
You're asking Mac Jones.
Mac Jones isn't going to play this year if everything goes right.
But I would say this year.
Super Bowl,
just eventually.
But
so
still,
you could go long-term Trevor Lawrence. You could. I mean, let's be honest. None of those guys look like Super Bowl winning quarterbacks today. I think we all could admit though, that quarterback trajectories do change. And Mac Jones, I think, has looked phenomenal in the 49ers camp. I mean, I can't believe how good Mac Jones looks. The ball comes out on time. He's accurate. He doesn't seem flustered. He's making good decisions. He looks good in this system.
I don't know what to say in the system for a while.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. It's baffling to me because this is a system that even Matt Ryan took a year to adjust to, and lots of quarterbacks take a year to adjust. But he looks good.
They haven't played anybody yet, so I mean,
exactly, and he's looking good against the Niners secondary, which may be an indictment on the Niners secondary. But it really is a debate between Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I don't know. It's a debate with anybody you want. Maybe you believe in Justin Fields. I don't. But to me, it's a debate between Trevor Lawrence versus Trey Lance versus Mac Jones.
Trevor Lawrence is the only guy in that group who's actually like playing football and is starting.
Fields, well, actually, I think if you're having the conversation, you have to throw Fields in. I mean, Fields is a QB1 right now. I mean, Larry, when you and I went through the quarterback rooms,
win the Super Bowl, so that eliminates him right there. He's a New York Jet, so they're out.
Yeah, I was going to say doesn't he play for the Jets? No, but I just think beyond the Jets, I was all about Fields. And now I totally understand why Shanahan bypassed Fields, because Fields doesn't see it. Fields got in the red zone. I watched Pittsburgh 5 times last year for some reason. I saw him in the red zone a ton. He can't make plays in the red zone. He's got 4.4 speed, but he's sacked all the time because he holds the ball too damn long because he doesn't see it. You either see it or you don't, and he doesn't see it. So, Fields stinks. Mac Jones has stunk, but maybe it's situational.
Well, he stunk, but then again, wait. Mac Jones stunk, but
Pro Bowler as a rookie.
Okay, and Pro Bowl, we all know there's 6 guys, in each conference that make a Pro Bowl at quarterback. But Mac Jones did start a playoff game after Tom Brady left New England. I mean, those were pretty big shoes to fill, and I want to at least give that credit. Yes, they got slaughtered by the Bills in that playoff game, but Mac Jones, when Tom Brady left, took New England to the playoffs. So there's at least that part of it. I won't say I can't see a world. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl, and exactly what you're talking about, the trajectory, Larry. The trajectory of these guys has to be that you see someone doing sort of a Foles-Flacco thing where they come back in this new life somewhere else, and it happens late in their career, unless you believe in Trevor Lawrence. That's really what this is about. Do you see a guy in a situation that he's not even close to right now, finding a situation, or do you see Trevor Lawrence in a trajectory that's different than what he's been on for the last year and a half? That's what this conversation is, period. Because Lawrence is the guy that you would think Lawrence is going to be given opportunity after opportunity to do this. The other guys are going to have to earn or get gifted an opportunity because someone else falls out.
If I was putting all my money on somebody here, I would bet on Mac Jones. Now, if it as a starter, as like actually doing it, if it came down to who's going to get a ring, as Damon said, like just you're in the neighborhood, Trey Lance. Because I think the Chargers are absolutely going to get it done eventually. I think the Chargers with Harbaugh win a Super Bowl within the next 5 years. So I think, and if Trey's still there as a backup,
right, he gets one.
He gets one. So I would go Mac Jones. I want a couple of other topics. So let's hit a couple.
His landing spot is. Doesn't that matter? I mean, you don't even because
I don't know where he's going to land, but he could be right here. He could. Brock Purdy could get hurt, and he could win it here. I'm just saying, I'm not rooting for any of it, but if I had to wager on one of those guys, I would take Mac Jones based on what I've seen this summer. Maybe that's biased. Give me your guys' pick, and then we'll move to another quick topic here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel good about my pick, but I'll just take the guy who's actually playing, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, every single one of these guys has to beat a depth chart before they even get a chance to beat another team or win a Super Bowl. So,
I mean, you could have gone Fields. He's playing.
No, but again, he's a New York Jet. Jet never wins.
That is
automatically eliminates him.
That is an eliminating.
I'll make this really quick. I want to disagree. I'm going with you, Damon. The opportunity is there for Lawrence, and it's not necessarily there for anybody else, even though Trey Lance potentially hasn't put anything down on film better than what we saw a week ago. I mean, that was arguably Trey Lance's greatest series in this league that we saw in the preseason. So there's that opportunity potentially if he goes somewhere other than the Chargers.
All right. Now we're going to get to the point in the stream where we get to dream. And, dreams are good. My late father, the great George Krueger, said, I want you to have a dream. You just come up with a dream and everything else will take care of itself. And my dad used to think the saddest thing ever was when some kid would say, whatever, that kind of super ambivalent, jaded, whatever, everything's whatever. My dad thought that was very sad. He really wanted his children to have a dream, and he fostered and cultivated that dream. He supported those dreams. I love him, for more than ever for telling me at 23 to don't worry about how much money I made with my first job out of college, but to go take a path that would lead me to the jobs that I wanted. And he was just so wise. I love my dad, and he was so great. So he said, have a dream. So I'm going to say to you guys, have a dream. What is your dream Super Bowl 60, which we all know is at Levi's this year in Santa Clara, Damon's favorite stadium. What is your dream Super Bowl Sunday scenario? Who wants to go first?
Well, first of all, that the game gets moved to Las Vegas or New Orleans. That would be the truest dream. Or maybe you just bring it over. They can't use Levi Stadium that day. Bring it over to the best football stadium in the Bay. Bring it to Berkeley. Have them play in Strawberry Canyon. That's a gorgeous place to play a football game.
I love, by the way, college football, and I will be in Strawberry Canyon for probably multiple games this year.
Yeah, I'm going to.
If there's anything I would recommend you do, if you haven't done it, if you live in the Bay Area, let's say, or live anywhere, it doesn't matter. Take your kids to go see college football and get into it. Go early, get to the tailgater, have a couple beers, get your kids face painted, have them meet the the whole kit and caboodle. Do the college football thing. You will be so glad that you did. That's my 2 cents.
The dream would be that the 49ers are in the game.
Okay.
Playing anybody but the Kansas City Chiefs. There you go. That's the dream, I think, here in the Bay Area. Niners host a Super Bowl that Patrick Mahomes is attending in a luxury box with Taylor Swift, not playing it.
That's so there's so many Niner fans going. Yes.
So
I want to there without freaking Mahomes. Okay.
So I want to say two things to that. I had my own that I circled, and frankly, if you're looking at the thumbnail over it, Thinking Out Loud, Siciliano and Sam, you'll know exactly where I'm going. But I want to push back to Damon's point in one way, because as an Eagles fan, it just happened. The Niners playing the Chiefs in Santa Clara in the Super Bowl and winning that game would actually be the sweetest. In other words, if your dream extended, if you didn't have to wake up to pee in the middle of your dream, that would truly be it, right? Your dream realized all the way would truly be getting that ultimate payback. The Eagles lost to the Chiefs 2 years ago in the Super Bowl and then beat the shit out of them in the Super Bowl recently. Trust me, as an Eagles fan, that is something you cannot even describe, because what you're thinking going into that game is, here we go again. And for the Niners, it's 2 times that way. But to actually do it would be epic. But I'm going to paint a nightmare here for the Niners, which is they're in the game, and on the other side is the team that did beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. Jim Harbaugh, former best friend to Niners fans everywhere. Jim Harbaugh brings his Chargers, who have beaten the Chiefs on their way to get there, to the Super Bowl. And in Levi's, a stadium where he said, no, we don't want to be on this side of the field. Whatever you're planning, no, we're going to do it totally different because the sun's going to be in our eyes, and I don't like that. In the stadium that he helped design for the home team, Jim Harbaugh beats the 49ers with his new team in a Super Bowl in Santa Clara. The ultimate, for those of you that hate or love Shanahan, for whatever you thought of Harbaugh, to see, again, we've seen Harbaugh against his brother. That was adorable. That was cute, but we had seen it on Thanksgiving years before. The idea that Harbaugh does it in a city where, by the way, I think Jim Harbaugh should be beloved in the Bay Area for what he did for this franchise. What he was able to do with Alex Smith, those years with Kaepernick were epic. Harbaugh with another team beating the Niners. That, to me, that is a dream buildup. And I'm sorry to make it a nightmare, but I think Chargers winning that game would be epic.
Okay.
That's Jed York's nightmare.
Yes.
That's Jed York's nightmare.
Yes.
And Jed will be tweeting after that. Okay. I've
Larry,
got
what do you
this
got?
is my scenario, and it's an awesome one. The Niners have a little bit of a bump in the road kind of a year because they do have a lot of young players. So they aren't the number one seed. They, in fact, have to go on the road. Right. And what do they get? They get the Rams in the first round, but it's Jimmy G.
Love this.
Okay. It's Rams and Jimmy G. They beat Jimmy G because Jimmy G's Jimmy G. They then go and play the Eagles, who are the number one seed in Philadelphia, and they beat the Eagles in their backyard and take all their white trash fans and just slap them around. Eagles fans just
slow tear down my face, but we'll take it. Yes.
Just all the trashy fans that they have, just they have to go home to wherever they live and
take that, Vinny.
Yeah, seriously. Go enjoy spring training. Go Phils. All right. You beat down Philly despite being like a 2-touchdown underdog. Okay. The AFC title game is Chiefs Chargers at Arrowhead. The Chargers unbelievably win the game with Justin Herbert, but Herbert gets knocked out. And Trey Lance comes in and finishes the game. And now it sets up a Super Bowl Sunday, Harbaugh against Shanahan, Purdy against Lance, and the Niners win the game. And everybody says it's an asterisk. It's a what if. It's like Shanahan gets his ring, but it's like everybody's like, well, but if Herbert had been in there, and it's a gigantic offseason of, should the Niners celebrate, or did they win because, Herbert was lost, but we get to see Purdy beat Jimmy G. We get to see Purdy beat Trey Lance. We get to see Kyle Shanahan beat Jim Harbaugh. We get the lead up to a week of, will Jed be miserable or will Jed be elated? That would be epic. Niners beat Trey Lance and Jim Harbaugh, and unfortunately, it just seems like if Shanahan's going to get that ring, it will not be clean. It will have to be some kind of, extra angst, or you know what I mean? And that's it right there.
I want to throw in one more.
They wouldn't have beaten Stafford. They wouldn't have beaten Herbert. They wouldn't have. Hey, laugh it up.
The ring.
We got the ring.
I want to throw in one more step on the way, Larry. You set up all the games beautifully ahead of time, but you forgot about the NFC Championship. Beating Debo in the NFC Championship, by the way, would be pretty spectacular there, because that's what it would be, right? I mean, ultimately, so they beat Philly divisional, and then the NFC Championship is against Debo and the Commanders.
The overtime in a Commander game, and Debo drops a ball in overtime, and McLaurin scores for the Niners.
Yep. And my dream scenario: the Super Bowl goes to overtime, and Shanahan knows the rules. Wouldn't that be a lovely dream?
Oh, great dream. Savage.
Oh, savage. We got this one right here. Regular Ryan. Larry's writing 49er Avengers Endgame over here.
Really are, seriously.
The GG Trey Lance.
What was it? What are the stones? Right?
Yeah. It is glove. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
What are those things called? The
Infinity Stones.
Infinity Stones. I knew there'd be somebody who knew it. All right, let's hit some supers and then we're bolting for the door. This has been a fun stream. All right, we got Blood Moon. He says, Jaden Daniels kicking out a player out of the huddle over a false start penalty. Leader, send BA there. BP with Terry would be amazing. BA watch is over. All right. There you go,
Baywatch. Yeah, that's cute.
Scotty D, can't I vote for less gossip and more football? Social media analysis is whack. Scotty, have a little fun. Let your hair down.
It's part of the game now.
It's most of the game now. Social media dictates so much of this.
Scotty, if you watch my channel, I'm analyzing O-line, D-line, backup, Sebastian Valdez. I'm picking undrafted guys. I'm interviewing nobodies. Come on, man. We're bringing you a lot of the esoteric. Let us have a little fun. We got this one from the DK show. He says, TY to the DK show.
Back up. You took it down, Larry.
Thank you.
Thank you to the DK show.
Sorry. Thank you to the DK duo and Sammy for sponsoring Wake Up.
Who the hell would create a social media presence that was a combination of you and me? That's a dedicated listener right there. Thank you so much, whoever you are.
That's a beauty.
Is this our faces?
That's a thumbnail. It's basically a thumbnail of the two of you together doing a stream. That's fantastic.
That is awesome. Mr. Shador Sanders.
Oh, this is good.
Oh, good Shador here.
He says the reason my name was he jumped in my stream last night and he spelled Shador S-E-U or S-H-E-U. And I'm like, Shador, the reason I don't think it's Shador because you misspelled your first name.
Shooter.
He said the reason my name was misspelled last night was because my 5th round contract couldn't afford it to be LOL. So I am using money from my jersey sales to have my name spelled correctly. QB1 in Cleveland.
Hey, look at it this way. Andrew Siciliano's got to be happy with the amount of it. There will be no more attention or analysis paid to a preseason game than what the Browns are going to do in week 1. They're starting Shador.
Shador is starting.
That's going to be watched like Zapruder film.
He won't be late. You know he won't be late to the game because he'll go 110 miles an hour to get there.
He'll get there.
And by the way, congrats to Siciliano. He's also, by the way, for those that missed it last night, but Hard Knocks got underway with the Bills.
Oh, I didn't
Andrew's hosting the podcast that goes with that for HBO for after each episode. So check that out as well. Yeah, very cool. So he's tied to that.
The Bills are building a stadium that takes into account where it sits geographically on the planet and is going to go ahead and make decisions based on that, while the 49ers, again, have been practicing in Santa Clara for 25, 30 years, but didn't know where the sun was, didn't have any concept of the concept of shade or anything like that for anybody. So it's just, God, Levi Stadium sucks.
MSQ has dropped this same question in like 3 streams for me. Ooh. Thoughts on Texas and Ohio State being ranked 1 and 2 in the coaches poll and being week 1 opponents. When was the last time 1 and 2 faced off in week 1? I would say it's definitely happened in the last 20 years. I don't remember exactly who faced off 1 and 2. I like Ohio State a lot this year.
1 and 2 in week 1, though? I can't remember that at all. 1 versus 2 week 1. Good God.
I could have swore, Damon, we had a kickoff classic within the last 15 years where it was 1 versus 2, but that's just like a deep, and I couldn't tell you who they were. I thought it was Oregon and somebody, but we got Oregon, Ohio State last year. What were they?
Right. I'm looking that up right now.
That had to be, they had to be top 5. Both of them were top 5.
Right, but that didn't kick off the year.
It wasn't the kickoff classic, but it was like week 1 or 2, wasn't it? I thought it was
early in the year, but I don't think it would kick.
I like Ohio State. I mean, that the receiving core for Ohio State is awesome. Caleb Downs is probably the best safety in the country. I think the Buckeyes have a factory. I think they really have taken the recruiting thing to the next level.
I'm reading here that this is the first time it will happen in the opener.
You got 2 teams.
You got week 2. By the way, week 2, 2006. Yeah, this is apparently.
What was it? 2006 week 2.
2006 was week 2.
And who was it?
And it was Ohio State and Texas.
Okay.
2006 in week 2, 1 versus 2. That's what I got here. But this could be history the first time ever.
Wow, that's big. Ben_Diesel 85.
That game should be at 7:30 at night, not at noon. Big Ten kickoff. Ugh.
Washington knows if McLaurin gets away, Debo will become the number 1 receiver. McLaurin stays in Washington. I'd love to have him, though. There you go. Thank you for that, Ben. James Foster in the house says, Leonard Hankerson says no to your trade, Lowry. Well, it's funny. Should we even listen to Leonard Hankerson? Because literally 24 hours before Isaiah Nayer was gone, he's like, man, Isaiah Nayer's great. He's a great addition to this team. He's an important player. He stretches the field. I love coaching him. Within 24 hours, he was cut. And like that, he was gone. The 49ers, you said Pleasance and Burford was bad. Am I right, Krug? Yeah. I loved Pleasance in the OTAs, and I don't know that I've ever seen anybody have drop faster than what he looked like in OTAs. He looked big, strong, fast, and then he can't handle speed at all. Any speed is killing him. Jalen Allen, who's 240 pounds, bull rushed Austin Pleasance, who's 340 pounds, about 5 yards into the lap of the quarterback. Burford, I'll make the prediction, just doesn't have the footwork to
Can I show you something that should make everybody nervous? This is Burford. Jake Brendel.
Oh, you have Burford here? Wait a second. Let me back this up.
This is CJ West just destroying Jake Brendel. Your starting center having a rookie just eat his lunch. And I mean, that is something that I'm going to be talking about at 11 a.m. on my show. That the center of attention for me yesterday at practice was just how much the 49ers should have signed Drew Dolman this offseason. And the number one way to Purdy still looks wide open, man. Brendel did not look good against rookies.
Well, but that aside, Burford, who is a guard, played tackle at Texas San Antonio. There's a great distance between Texas San Antonio and the NFL when it comes to pass protection. Burford's feet are so slow. How slow are they? Okay. They're so slow that he is false starting to get out there so he doesn't get beat, and they're not blowing the whistle. They're not calling it. And when he gets into the preseason, I'll say it right now. I will predict that Spencer Burford in the preseason will have a false start because he is false starting in practice to just get out there to not whiff on these speed rushers. He doesn't have enough speed. Pleasance and Burford, I don't think are the answers. Maybe Andre Dillard is. Maybe there's somebody that I'm not thinking of, but I don't think it's Pleasance and I don't think it's Burford. I know there's a lot of people that like those guys. I think they're guards. I mean, I don't mind them at guard. I don't like them at tackle. Ernberg says, no matter the wide receiver, Brock is throwing the ball.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. And Damon, I gave you something earlier. I texted it to both you, but Purdy's numbers since 22. I just want everyone to go back. We'll do that one day. We'll just dissect all of Purdy's numbers since 2022 and rank him amongst all quarterbacks in this league.
Oh, you mean because he's got better numbers than Mahomes?
Exactly.
Right. Everybody saw that this week. Debo Samuel, I heard what you said, Krug. I got, what is that? Receipts, and find it funny how you brush off my pneumonia.
Okay.
What a joke. And don't disrespect my brothers, JJ and Ayuk.
But hey, look, Debo spelled right, so that might actually be him.
That's good.
Oh, this is supposed to be Debo?
It's Debo.
I heard what you said, Krug. Okay. You got receipts.
Right there.
Hey, Debo. It's not that you don't get the ball, it's that you're struggling. There you go. Paul Glass says, go Ducks. Don't sleep on my guy, Jordan James, a.k.a. Track Torcedo. He still holds the squat record for running backs at Oregon at 680 pounds. He's a red zone machine. He catches the ball really well.
I'm telling you,
Niners have some good running backs.
The Niners got a really good running back room. They do. Yeah. They got when Garendo's back in there and healthy, they got talent. And Patrick Taylor Jr. is a good player. I really think he is. But Jordan is he needs to play like that. He's good.
We got this one, Drew I think he's talking about
Nugent.
Drake Nugent. He says Drew Nugget, but I think
that's a good nickname.
You're Drew Nugget. If we put it into the truth machine, boop, 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 it comes out as Drake Nugent. Anyway, Drake Nugent is that guy still there? Was on the practice squad. Not only is he still there, he had a rep yesterday in practice against Alfred Collins where he totally stonewalled Collins. And Collins actually is getting a little bit better. He's still kind of wired to blockers. But Nugent is definitely in the mix. The thing about it, though, is Brendel is, Firster loves Brendel, and Zakel is loved by Purdy. And, they're both centers. So it's going to be tough and there's also Hennessy. So, Nugent's going to have to play really well in the preseason. What were you going to say?
Hennessy's actually second on the depth chart at center right now ahead of Nugent.
Yeah. Yeah, Hennessy is the backup. Nugent's the third center, and Zakel's the fourth center. And Zakel's buddies with Purdy. I think it's, unless Nugent plays well or there's an injury, I think he's probably going to get cut.
Right. Look at it this way: Brock got paid enough to say goodbye to his friends.
Yeah, but you know what? They like Zakel. And I will say this about Zakel. He's a big, strong, tough guy. He had a couple reps against West in the last couple days where he stonewalled West. And that right there is already kind of like, whoa, that didn't happen a lot. One last one. Propa says it just seems like a reset year mentally from the team, which is frustrating because the Super Bowl is here and there's no guarantee the core guys like CMC, Kittle, Trent will be elite in 2026. I agree with you. I think it's a little of a weird thing. I mean, why would you choose this year for your reset? But the 49ers felt like they wanted to reset last year, but they also felt like they wanted to defend their NFC championship. So, there's never a good time to hit the reset.
What the fuck is a reset about this season? Wait a second. A
reset is that they dumped a bunch of guys.
But you wait a second. I understand anything in free agency. The money's upside down from off season, yes. But if you look at the draft, the team is still there. And again, how can you say reset in a season where you paid Kittle, Warner, and Purdy? And right now, yeah, you're having negotiation issues, but you paid those three guys. The core of what's supposed to happen for this season is all right in front of you, and McCaffrey is coming off the injury. He's coming off the injury and looking healthy. I'm sorry.
The argument is that they have $90 million in dead cap, and that's why they're in a reset. But I'll say this. Nobody's told the coaches or players down there. There is no vibe around them like, we're just kind of a rebuilding team. The Niners are an iconic franchise that expects to win the Super Bowl every year, and that's the vibe. I mean, if you want to say there's another vibe, go for it, but that's not what I'm getting. The vibe I get is that they are all in it for the Super Bowl this year.
Yes.
It's now.
What do you think, Damon? You were there.
Well, yeah. I mean, what Shanahan in that first press conference of the year, he talked about a new 3-year window. And I do think that this is like a new 3-year window. And I think they all know they got about 3 more years to get this done, or they're not going to be, asked back to continue to do it again. But this is a team that was set up to have maybe a gap year in between high school and college or something like that. But then all of a sudden that schedule came out. And that schedule invited the 49ers right back into any playoff conversation formally. That schedule is a formal invitation to join the playoffs this year. It'll be a shame if the 49ers don't RSVP to it with a 10-11 win season. Again, the Niners might not be the best team in football, but they're a lot better than a lot of those teams on their schedule. And that's not, that's not bias.
Last year was the gap. Last year was the gap year. And Damon, the greatest offseason move, as I've said over the last few months, is the schedule release.
Yeah.
That's the greatest move of the offseason is the schedule release. Get the magnet, put it on your fridge, and smile every day up until week 1, knowing that's what you have to look at.
I know there's a certain percentage of fans in here that are Niners are trash, Niners won't do anything, they're doomed, blah, 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 blah. They are favored in 15 of 17 games, I believe, in Las Vegas. Isn't that like, come on.
Is that good?
That's good. 2 last ones, and then Sammy's got to go see Ohtani. Jake Moody says, dream scenario, game-winning field goal in the Super Bowl against the Chargers.
Jake Moody. Jake, I don't know, it's Greg Joseph.
By the way, guys, yesterday, I don't know if you got a kick out of this, Damon, but I did. So Jake Moody, Sammy, is kicking. There's no Greg Joseph. He was cut the day before. Right. So it's just, Moody trying 6 kicks. And it's, you could say there's tons of pressure because he's the only kicker. You could say there's none because there's no other kicker. But either way, we all know the reality. If you make kicks in the NFL, it's your job. If you miss kicks, there's going to be a new guy showing up. But as he starts to kick, everybody, all the offensive players move to the side, defensive players move to the side, the special teams are out there on the field. And the guy who's running the music starts playing AC/DC Money Talks, and Jake Moody's nickname is Money Moody. So out there as your nickname's Money Moody, now you're out there trying to make field goals in front of your teammates, and Money Talks. It was awesome. He made 5 of 6, by the way.
He missed several of his warm-up field goals before that official, all right, everybody's watching moment actually happened where he dinked one off the crossbar from 54. Was that
that was I think. I mean, this is all. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't. I can't even.
Doink. I wrote it down yesterday.
The angles that you get on these field goals is so bad. It's like I don't even bother trying to measure. There's guys who are like literally going crazy. Was that 48? Was that 43? It's like, who gives a shit?
If you ever get a chance to go to training camp for 2 days, spend one day watching the offense and the defense one. Spend the day just watching what happens on the special team side. What the kicker and the punter do at training camp is spectacular. They're just betting each other, right? I mean, they do the most ridiculous drills and little games with each other. It's actually quite hysterical. It's my favorite part of training camp is watching those guys just try crazy shit.
There you go.
Way, and I know you got to run here, Sammy, and I don't want to bring up a whole other new topic.
Oh, yes.
But like football on TV, NFL football on TV is so much better on TV than it is in person.
Without question.
Practice on TV would be better than it is in person. The amount of people and trainers and coaches and players just standing around that you have to look through, duck around, run around. The way that the 49ers move the media, it's like they move practice is over here and they take the media and they put them all the way over there. They're making it as hard as possible to see shit. And
it's annoying. I'm getting annoyed by the whole thing. It's really annoying.
I've gone down to 3 training camps. I'm done. Like yesterday was the day I was down there. I'm like, all right, preseason football starting. That's good enough for me. This is starting to become a freaking useless hour drive to come down here to Santa Clara because you can't see anything. And the things that you think you might be able to see, now all of a sudden you got a wall of 49ers standing in front of you and you can't get the single most common asked question among 49ers media this entire preseason has been, who caught that? Who caught that? Who threw that?
Yeah.
Who ran that? Who did
sorry.
That?
Yeah. Hey, sorry. I didn't see something that I'll be on the flagship station talking about tonight because I was standing behind Ben Barch's ass. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Let me say this. Nobody cares about us, but about the fans. Niners, you put the fans in the corner. You practice where you practice. The people pay $10 or $20 for those tickets. The secondary market, they're going for $300 or $400. If there's a 49er fan who paid $800 for 2 tickets to sit 160 yards away from your practice, shame on you. You have all the money. It's the NFL. You're minting money. They put up a gigantic screen at the pool at the Palms. Put up a gigantic screen in front of those people, so the people that are paying their hard-earned money and skipping work to go watch your practices can see it. All right, put up a screen. Put them practice wherever you want on whatever part of the field you want. Put them wherever you need to put them. But put up a TV screen so there are people that sit in the upper deck that can't see the field. But guess what? They can see the big screen, and they watch some of the highlights on the big screen, so they enjoy it. They would enjoy it if you put up a big screen. Put up a big screen right there, and it's just you got the money, go buy it.
Everything is
Jed, cut the check.
They got 4K HD cameras surrounding practice. They could easily do that. It's easy to do. If you can have a World Cup party in Dolores Park, you with a big
right. You can
do that.
Right. If the Giants Game 7 of the World Series can be shown in Civic Center, then guess what? You can do this. All right. Slam and Sammy Joe says my prediction is Chiefs versus Bills, Eagles versus Rams. And MSQ says, when's the next Krug Bruce Wake Up Live? It is Friday. That's going to do it for us. Sammy, good to see you. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to Claw Daddy Arcades. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. Damon, you want to shout out your sponsors one more time?
Absolutely. Thank you to Ike's. As always, go get your sandwich there today. And if you need that best poured Guinness in all of San Francisco, Dublin or West Portal, it's a gorgeous day to go get a Guinness, if you don't mind me saying on
Sammy,
West Portal.
We'll give you the final word before we hit the escape hatch.
I love that, everybody. Thanks for checking us out at Thinking Out Loud, Siciliano and Sam. You can see tons of content with Siciliano and myself. We've got a podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and tons of content with these two beautiful gentlemen, Larry Krueger and Damon Bruce, and their channels are outstanding, Krug Show and, of course, Damon Bruce Plus. So thank you both for having me here. I love this when we get together.
Good Peace. We're out.